Hello, everybody. Hope all you guys are having a great Sunday. I apologize that we are doing this during the ALCS, but as you guys know, tonight is a very special episode. We are going to, instead of doing an interview on Main Event Baseball with Ryan on YouTube, guys, I have a very, very special guest. Let me introduce him real quick. This is my longtime friend, longtime teammate. I should say former teammate because we're not teammates anymore. But high school friend, graduated with this guy. You can see he's a Dodger fan. My good friend, Hunter Snooks. Hunter, thank you so much for taking your Sunday night to be on here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It'll be fun. I've been waiting to be able to join the famous page here and be able to talk some baseball with you.
I am pumped up. So, before we get into it, guys, just a reminder, I have it right here. Main Event Baseball with Ryan. T-shirts aren't available. We just got our new stock in. There will be a link down below for all that. But instead of normal interview, guys, we're going to be talking about some NLCS breakdown. We will get to some exciting news about the Padres that I'm familiar you guys will be, and we will end the episode with the ABS talk of next year. But Hunter, you're a Dodger fan. But before we get in, tell everybody a little about yourself. I'm gonna let you do the intro on
All
yourself.
right. Yeah, so I was trying not to be very biased or, nothing at all here. I didn't want people to know. Try to keep this neutral, right? That I wasn't a Dodgers fan, but a little, I guess, reason why I am a Dodgers fan. My I'm named after my mom's dad, who passed away when my mom was actually in high school, so I never got to meet him. So my name's Hunter Dwayne, and he liked to hunt, but I was young and loving the game of baseball. I don't know, 3 4 years old, five, I don't remember how old I was. And I was trying to figure out what team I wanted to like. And my mom's like, well, your grandpa, who you're named after, was a huge Dodgers fan. And so I was like, done. Sold. Like, that's all I needed. And there was lots of years of the Dodgers being mediocre, but obviously the last we can go, we can say 13, 14 years. Like, it's been pretty fun to be a Dodgers fan, obviously. And right now, they're calling it the golden age of Dodger baseball right now. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's pretty exciting to be a fan for sure. So yeah, and like you said, we Ryan and I went to school together. We played baseball together, so we go way back for sure.
Yeah, guys. Guys, I told you guys on a previous episode, this guy, my senior year, I would eat lunch with him and he would be yelling LA every time I passed him. It's good memories. It's a friendly rivalry, but
Oh yeah,
we're friends before rivals, no matter what. So,
for sure.
all right. Well, Hunter, I as a Dodgers fan, your bitter rivals, San Diego Padres. I don't know if you guys know about it. It was after Game 3 of the wild card when my Cubs defeated the Padres. If you do remember that strike three call on Xander Bogaerts, I believe. In my opinion, it was a ball. Padres had a phenomenal argument. But Jose Iglesias has been suspended for 2 games in the next regular season, so he will serve that. Bogaerts has been fined. I do want to get your intake on that because I bet you saw that call too on one way or
I
another.
Yep, I did see it.
I want to, yeah. So I want to get your thoughts on that first.
Yeah, obviously, like you said, it was definitely a ball. But that's part of the game. Like, there's lots of, I guess we'll get into it later, but the
yeah.
ABS system may be able to help fix some of those in the future. But and it's tough to lose a playoff series, but I always look at it as you can't boil it down to one call. Like, you
Yeah.
had opportunities throughout the game to plate some more runs. You had the opportunities were there. So you can't just blame it. Even in that inning, like, you could have, kept going. But so to
Hmm.
act like that is, you got to be a little bit better. You can't let,
Yeah.
your emotions get the best of you. Obviously, it's tough to lose for sure, but
Yeah.
you got to be able to carry yourself with a little bit higher class than that. And so that's my thoughts on it for sure.
Yeah, guys, and remember the home plate umpire was Will Little. Um, Bogans and Iglesias are getting fined and a suspension because they did make contact. You guys all know the rule. You make contact with an
Yep.
is an automatic suspension right away. My opinions of it is looking back at that game. I looked back at it earlier today. You know, again, it's a what makes it tough is a playoff game, and I know the umpire messed up the call, and he knows that. But I mean, I think like the 2 games suspension is more of a slap on the wrist. I think, and down the road, it needs to be more. This is, I mean, guys, it's unacceptable. You got
Yeah.
kids watching it. You got kids in the crowd, and if they see that, then that takes them to do it in high school and little league, and you just can't do that. All right, umpires know they messed up the call. They can't change it, unfortunately, right now, which is the worst part about it. They're not trying to target you, but I'm gonna leave it at that. But yeah, guys, Bogarts has been fined. He's actually now been fined $3 million. He did make contact, so that is a fine. Iglesias will just get suspended for 2 games. So we're going to leave it at that. I don't want to talk about that, but that is breaking news right out of the get go. But Hunter, man, NLCS game 1 tomorrow night. You ready?
I don't even think I'm going to be able to sleep tonight. It's better than Christmas Eve. Like I'm going to be up all night. I'm not even playing or coaching in the game, but it feels like I'm part of it, even though I'm just going to be watching it from my couch, drinking a Diet Coke and eating some nachos. But I'm going to be up all night worried about it, thinking, well, what would I do? What pitcher would I bring in this situation? But that's just the
Right.
nature of being a true fan and, loving it so much.
Yeah, and the one thing I felt about Hunter is 2016 we graduated together. My Cubs won the World Series that year. We beat his Dodgers.
Yep.
This is what I feel bad for is you won the World Series during COVID. Okay.
Yep.
And I mean, looking back at that real quick, I know there were fans in the crowd, but a lot of people do not understand guys how tough COVID was in baseball, especially
Right.
with the playoffs. Okay. So I always tell Hunter guys, 2020, you won the World Series, you should be proud of it. But everybody says that season doesn't count. I say
Right.
you won the World Series, you still won the World Series. It doesn't matter how you did it. But
Yeah, that's how
uh,
I look. I mean, everyone had the same opportunity, right? But,
yeah,
everyone always has to say, like, oh, it was a Mickey Mouse World Series or it doesn't count. So I was glad we got the monkey off our back last year and won a full
yeah,
season
yeah.
World Series. So,
And you know what? I mean, against the Yankees too, and you did it. You know what? I look back at that series, and I look back at the Mookie Betts incident when the fan took the ball out of his glove.
yep.
Now, if you remember, the Yankees did not win a game after that. So,
Nope.
and Hunter and I have talked about this, guys. Those fans have been banned actually for all this year. They will be allowed back in next year. It's unacceptable, man. I've
Yeah.
actually met guys. I've met Mookie Betts. He's one of the down to earth guys, nice guys on the planet, and we're going to get to him in a little bit. But Hunter, tomorrow is Blake Snell on the mound. I got to see
Oh,
that
yeah.
guy pitch a couple months ago in Oklahoma City, in Reno for Oklahoma City. The game one starter has not been announced for Milwaukee. 2-0 with a 1.38 ERA in the postseason this year for Blake Snell. What are your thoughts on Dave Roberts' decision?
I mean, that's why we went and paid the guy, right? That's why you bring him in the off season to pitch in big games like this. Starts,
Mm-hmm.
the wild
Absolutely.
card series off, pitches amazing against the Phillies. I mean, that's why, you pay the guy good money to bring him in. Like, obviously, it wasn't the season that you hoped for, but I kept telling, my family and my wife, like, hey, as long as he's healthy, once October rolls around, we'll be just fine. And so he got
Uh,
a good enough build up right before the playoffs started, but he's mid-season form right now. He doesn't have all the innings of a full season on his arm, right? Like
yeah.
he's pitching amazing right now. So I'm happy with with their decision there to pitch him in game one. I think it will help. Because I think they announced just before we got on here, I was looking at the MLB app. I think Yamamoto's going game two,
Yes,
which
yes.
Yamamoto being able to go game two allows him to get extra rest to come back for game six, which,
Right.
as we know with Japanese pitchers, they come from only pitching once a week in Japan.
Yeah.
So they kind of need that extra rest. So that helps Yamamoto out versus Snell can come on a 4 day rest and pitch game five. So I think it was a great decision on Dave Roberts' part to go with Blake Snell game one.
You know what? I got everybody is telling me it's not a good call, but the way I see it, I look back at Blake Snell pitching against the Dodgers in 2020 in the World Series, and I mean it's a different level. Thing I guys, you kind of understand. It doesn't matter what you did in the regular season. Doesn't matter if you went 0 for 90 with 85 strikeouts. You show up in the postseason, no one's going to remember the regular season. And looking at Snell tomorrow, I like it. I got the Dodgers to win, even though it will be in Milwaukee. You know, I can't bet against Blake Snell. I can't.
No.
But I do have one concern, and this is a concern for me. It's really, and this is going to be surprising, so I want to know what you think about it. It is going to be how they pitch to Ohtani. Tony's QA, he's a lefty. All the guy can hit, no doubt. But watching the Brewers last night and the bullpen, that's the concern I have, is they're not going to go fastball, changeup, slider, sinker on Ohtani. Absolutely not. But what I want to get, Hunter, is like, put Snow tomorrow night. It's game one of the best out of seven. If he's getting into a jam early, what do you think Roberts is going to go to the bullpen?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to trust your guy a little bit. It's a little bit, it's obviously a 7 game series as a team that's the lower seed like the Dodgers are. I mean, your main goal obviously is probably just to split within Milwaukee and then come back home for 3 games. But I think you got to give Snell a decent leash on him, but not too long of a leash because you
Yeah.
do have a guy like Sheehan who's waiting in the bullpen that's a starter that they could easily deploy if it started to get ugly for them. So, I think they give him a little bit of a leash, but for the Dodgers to do well in this series, obviously we've seen a lot of the concerns with the bullpen. Now they did okay against the Phillies, but
Mm-hmm.
there's been
Yeah.
concerns about the Dodgers bullpen all year. So you really are hoping you can get at least 5, 6 out of your starters for the Dodgers to be able to win this series. You got to at least count on that.
Yeah.
And we
Um,
could see what they did in game one against the Phillies and bringing Glass now in on a bullpen day. Like he could
yeah.
eat an inning or two and then Sheehan
Absolutely.
as well. So I think they have options in this game one for sure.
So I had to look at the weather in Milwaukee, and everybody's going to call me crazy. What does weather have anything to do with it? Well, they have a retractable roof. American Family Fields this year has been a hitter's ballpark by 25% when the roof's shut. So that that works in the Dodgers' favor.
Yep.
But looking at it, looking if there's one guy I think the Dodgers need to be careful with in that Brewers lineup, and I want to know if you agree with me or not. It's William Contreras.
Yeah,
What
I
would you?
think the two hottest guys coming out of that series against the Cubs was Churio and Contreras, right? I mean,
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
you've got to be able to control those two for sure.
But you were a pitcher and all that, and I actually caught you in Little League, so I know a little bit about this. So, if you're Snell tomorrow, let's look in at Snell. Churio, if you're the catcher and Churio's up and he's going to lead off, we already know that, no doubt
Yep.
about it. What are you going to throw him? What would you throw Churio?
Well, I think we saw um, Snell use his changeup a lot against righties in the Phillies series, and
Right.
that was like against Trey Turner, against some of the Bohm, some of the other righties. So I think he obviously has some fastball in there, but I think he really tunnels that fastball and his changeup to that lower outside half, and he just really pounds that corner trying to induce weak contact or get a strikeout. And but then you always got to watch for Snell's curveball and stuff. He'll just sneak that in there on you. But his
Hmm.
changeup to righties has been amazing so far this postseason.
And you know what? I think Snell's going to have no problem with lefties. Although I don't, I predict three lefties in the lineup tomorrow: Yelich, Turing,
Yep.
Frelick. No more.
Yep. Right.
And the one thing you kind of understand with Milwaukee with Frelick and Turing, they are not tall, but they can hit. They can hit.
Yep.
They can run. And I I don't want. I don't know about you, but I don't think Snell, if he's going to be pitching the terrain, especially South Frelick, he's got to go away
Yep.
because terrain can hit inside really well, and when you put terrain with speed, speed kills. Um, so here's my big question for Game One. Do we don't? Of course, we don't know Milwaukee's starter. Who are you gonna? Who would you want to catch tomorrow? If you can't put Will Smith behind the plate, who would you want?
Who do I want catching? Rort Vet.
Um, he's a beast. I'll give you. I'll
He's
give you
been
that.
calling some good games. If Will Smith's not able to go, I would want Ben Rortvet behind the plate
Okay.
because he was towards the end of the season, and obviously, like we saw in the Phillies series, they were piggybacking each other a little bit. But he caught the whole Red series too, and he really seemed like he had the trust of the pitchers, and they were really trusting the game that he was calling. So you definitely lose some with the bat, but he also was. You know, laying down a bunt when he needed to. He had a couple hits, but I think his defense and his ability to call a game is so worth it.
Okay. And then my next question is Otani. Otani. Okay. We all know. Me and you. We all know Otani's going to get on base tomorrow. How can the guy not?
Yeah,
But
go
here's
ahead.
my question: Do you, if you're Dino Ebel, third base coach, okay, William Contreras being the play Otani on, do you have Otani's skill? Yes or no?
You know, I, I'm so after last year's World Series when he slid and dislocated his shoulder or
Mhm.
whatever he did to his shoulder, I'm so hesitant to have him steal because he is so valuable, even more so this year because he's
Yeah,
one of your starting pitchers. So
exactly.
I almost would rather, not probably have him
Okay,
steal just because I want to keep him upright. I want to keep him. I trust the bats that are coming up behind him to move him
right,
along.
right.
But he's so valuable that I would hate to see him go down with an injury like that again in
Yeah,
the playoffs. So,
yeah, absolutely. Well, I think looking at the game tomorrow, the Dodgers don't need to score a lot of runs, although we always say you need to score runs.
right.
I really think knowing Snell's going to go on tomorrow, I feel like again he's been on the IL this year. I would trust him getting out of jams. This is a guy that is not new to the postseason,
No.
um, and all that. And especially when you got your catcher and they can frame pitches and get pitches for you. Um, but I also think Milwaukee's going to be aggressive with their hitting.
Oh, yeah.
If they see a pitch, they're going to swing. They don't they don't swing a lot, but when they do swing, they make contact. So
Yep.
you know, I think with looking at Milwaukee, I think they're going to be aggressive on the bases. Obviously, um, I mean, this is the rematch of the 2018 NLCS. They don't want to lose this one.
Nope.
Um, and so I think I got tomorrow. If I could give a final score right now of tomorrow's game, even though we don't know the starter from Milwaukee, I got 6-3 Dodgers tomorrow.
Sounds like a good score.
6-3. But I don't see Dodgers making a comeback, and I really think Milwaukee's going to make it interesting. Then you're going to have the bullpen, and I really think the Dodgers bullpen this year. Roki Sasaki is my number one target. This is a guy that was a starting pitcher. Obviously, it didn't go so well for him, and that's
Right.
fine. He's out of the bullpen. I think I would rather give the ball to Sasaki eighth, ninth inning over Blake Tryon or, Anthony Banda. Although that's the thing. Okay. Bottom of the ninth, if we got any lefties coming up, I think I want a lefty on the mound at least to
Right.
get, no offense to Sasaki. The guy is a beast out of the bullpen. But I am a little hesitant on Sasaki as well because, again, it just depends who's coming up
Yeah.
in the lineup. But I think 6-3 Dodgers are going to win tomorrow. I got the Dodgers already I have it right here. 6 runs. I got 6 runs, 11 hits, maybe 1 error in the game. I want to know what you think about that.
Yeah, I was honestly thinking just about the same thing. I was thinking 6-2 Dodgers. That was my final
6-2.
score that I had in mind. So very close. But I think tomorrow's game will be a little bit tougher I think they're starting Freddie Peralta tomorrow. So obviously you'll
Next
have,
day, game 2.
yeah, game two. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Game two, I think, will be a little bit harder. But them not having a starter, maybe more of a bullpen. I don't know. Maybe they're going with Priester, but the Cubs roughed him. He didn't even make it out of the first inning.
No, it didn't.
So, I don't know. I don't know who they're honestly going to go with. So I think the Dodgers are able to get that game one, and
Yep.
we'll see what happens with game two. But I think they're able to win 6-2 in game one.
And I have to say this because I got a request. My good friend Paige with the front office, Boise Hawk front office, she was able to do some research for me on the Bruins and all that. I didn't know this, so thank you, Paige. Brewers ERA, starting pitching ERA this postseason alone, going into tomorrow night is a 5.18. Shocking
Wow.
to me
Yeah.
because they have good pitching.
Right.
But when you take Peralta out of that equation, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
If Quinn Priester goes on the mound tomorrow, I think Pat Murphy is making a mistake 100%. I don't think game one is his game. I don't even think he needs to start. I think if they need to use him, get him out of the pen. That's the best way for Milwaukee to win. But the good news is Peralta is not going for Milwaukee tomorrow.
Nope.
But you know what? Going just to finish up game one, I got Milwaukee 3 runs, but I only got them 4 hits. I'm predicting 3 runs, 4 hits, maybe 1 or 2 errors. And if they steal, and I want you to let me know. I think they're going to, if they steal any bases tomorrow, they will be successful at least 2 out of 5 times.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously you look at it. Milwaukee's one of the best base stealing teams in all of baseball,
Mm-hmm.
but Will Smith is also one of the best base stealing catchers out there. Right?
Oh
He
yeah, yeah. You're
he's
going to throw
he's
him out. He
top
can throw me out.
three.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah, he's top three when it comes to throwing people out. So I think that will be throughout this whole series will be a fun matchup to watch. The run game of Milwaukee versus
oh,
Will Smith. But Blake Snell
absolutely.
doesn't hold runners on very well, so they might
No,
try and pick at him on that.
no, and you know what? I mean, neither did John Lester. Come on, John, you could run on John Lester, dude. The guy
Yeah.
doesn't throw. But it's not about that, Summing up game one tomorrow, if Milwaukee wins the game, this is the only way they have it. They either make a comeback and it's due to the Dodgers bullpen, or they just do, or Snell just doesn't have it. Those are the only 2 scenarios. I can't predict them winning in any other way.
Right.
But If go to the bottom of the ninth. If the Dodgers have the lead, go to the bottom of the ninth, and the Dodgers are up by three. Let's just say 3 or 4. Do you bring Sasaki in? Yes or no?
Yes, I do. I would.
Okay. Uh, cool. I agree. I mean, a leadoff base runner is a bases loaded rally in the postseason. So, all right. So let's get to game 2. It's going to be in American Family Fields as well. Um, Yamamoto Peralta matchup. Yamamoto this postseason 1-1, 2.53 ERA. You ready for that?
Yeah, I mean, he obviously this last game against the Phillies, he
Mm-hmm.
struggled a little bit more, but against the Reds, he looked amazing. So, but he's been our ace all year. So I have all the trust in Yamamoto that he'll have it figured out. But if you go back and look to earlier this season, I believe Yamamoto pitched against the Brewers and he didn't make it out of the first inning.
I
So
do remember
that
that.
is something to look at.
Oh,
But that would kind of to me seem more of a fluke than anything else. But I think that will be definitely one of the best pitching matchups of this whole series is seeing Yamamoto and Peralta
yes.
duel it out.
And don't okay if any of you guys out there are Milwaukee Brewer baseball fans, I'm not saying you guys will not win the NLCS. I'm not saying you don't have a chance because I don't look at game 7 the other night of the ALCS. Josh Naylor stole third base on Tarek Skubal, and it had everything to do with the crowd. So the crowd does have something to do with it. But with Yamamoto, I'm I looked at some of this postseason last year against San Diego. They were not the best. We all know that. But I'm confident in Yamamoto. I think, what he did against Milwaukee in the regular season, that doesn't matter. He's
Right.
locked in. He wants to win that thing. I don't blame him. But he's got to prove. He's got to prove that he's not an ace in the regular season, but he can live up into the regular. Um, But I want to get your thoughts on how do you think Yamamoto will do? If you could give him a pitch count, what would it be?
I think he goes 6 innings, gives up 2 runs, and has 8
Okay.
strikeouts.
Okay. Interesting. Because you know what? I see him going into the 6th. But I really think the one thing I love about Japanese guys, especially Yamamoto, is he has pitches that you don't see in the MLB. I
Right.
mean, and that's going to be his advantage right off the bat. He doesn't have to throw him for a strike. He could drop a fork ball, for example, in the zone, and they're going to chase. So I just say this, if you're Dave Roberts, bases what if the Dodgers are up 1-0 in game 2 and Yamamoto is in a jam, they got to get to the bullpen early. Obviously, I don't see it happening, but you got to think about it. But that goes to tomorrow night. You don't want to use your bullpen up tomorrow night because that affects
Right.
game 2. Freddie Peralta, though. Now, I don't know if you heard about this. This is what he took to Twitter earlier today. Freddie Peralta took to Twitter about the NLCS. He said that he thinks the Dodgers are going, and this is just quoting him. He thinks the Dodgers are going to be a very, very tough opponent, but he kind of said one thing that kind of pissed me off. He thinks he can outlast Yamamoto in game 2.
Mm.
Thoughts?
Well, I think it will definitely be a duel for sure, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it's gonna be almost a little bit of a breath of fresh air for the Dodgers to be seeing a right-handed starter because the
Yes.
Phillies had so many lefties, and Shohei and Freddie and
Mm-hmm.
Muncy all struggled with those guys, right? So I
Oh,
think
yeah.
seeing a right-hander will help kickstart Shohei and kickstart Freddie. So I think Yamamoto can outlast Freddie Peralta, but I do think it'll be a good duel for sure.
Absolutely. Now you kind of remember, guys, the Dodgers in this way they have the advantage. They're well rested. Milwaukee, they played last night. They are not. Although the bench of Milwaukee is rested, if there's anything going to Game 3, you flip it to Dodger Stadium. This is Game 3. I don't know who's starting, but I, I want to talk about Clinton Kershaw for a minute.
Okay.
Your boy, yeah,
Oh
is
yeah.
retiring this at the end of this year. Would you want to see Kershaw start Game 3, or would you rather see him out of the pen?
I think I'd probably rather see him out of the bullpen. I know we
Okay,
got roughed up a little bit against the Phillies coming out of the bullpen, but I think I think their starters. Obviously, I'm one of the biggest Clayton Kershaw fans out there. Like
fanatic.
I've grown 18 years of watching him pitch, right? But I think you have some better options in Otani and Glass now to go either game 3 or game 4. But I do think Kershaw does come in and play a role at some point during this series, out of the bullpen, and helps him win a game for sure.
So Game 3, obviously, I'm not going to make a prediction on the score because we don't even know who's going to start yet.
Yep.
But I think the Dodgers have one big advantage when it comes to Dodger Stadium, and it's not playing at home. It's the fan base. No offense, but that Dodger fan base, I think, knowing that they swept Cincinnati in the wild card, they only lost one game in the division, and it was at home. I know, but the Dodgers are 4-1 this postseason at home. 4-1 at home. So that's something to be with. But who would you start in Game 3? If Dodger Stadium, who do you got?
I think Shohei. I think coming off the day off, you start Shohei in game 3. That's who I would
Okay,
start.
and so the Dodgers said this earlier in the regular season. They said, and I always wanted to ask you this: if Otani's going to start on the mound at home, should he lead off in the lineup or be put to the number 2 hole? What do you think?
I it's so hard because obviously I've seen him do it a couple times where he came right off the mound and the guy met him outside the dugout and he's putting his shin protector on, his elbow got
Yeah,
right, getting
that
ready.
boy right
Doesn't
there. Yeah,
even hardly get a warm up swing, but I think they've had to have had the conversation with him, and he still wants to bat in that leadoff. I mean, I think it might be okay if they moved him, like switched him and Mookie or something, just to give him a little bit more time. But
and that's the
obviously you can't control it for the rest of the game, so it could happen again. Like the guy in
yeah.
front of him could be the third out, and it has to happen. But so I don't know if it's if that first inning, if changing it's worth it when it could just happen again later down in the game. But I don't know. I think they must have had conversations with him, and he's still
Oh yeah,
comfortable being in that leadoff spot, or they would have made the change by now.
yeah. And the only thing I like that, Hunter, but I I know Aaron Ashby, reliever with Milwaukee, they used him as a starter, and he's a lefty. Now the thing is with Otani, I don't mind seeing him pitch, start the game at Dodger Stadium on the mound, and then go lead off. But if he hits a high pitch count, that's where that's my only concern. Other
Yeah,
than that, I don't mind. Otani's never pitched in a MLB postseason game prior to this year,
right.
which is surprising. I mean,
Yeah.
but this is only his second MLB postseason. You know, I gotta say this. I think if there's an NLCS MVP for the Dodgers that no one predicts, it's actually Otani.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't outside of the Red series, which he had a game where he hit a couple home runs, but in the Phillies series, he was essentially non-existent outside of his good pitching performance in game 1. He
Mm-hmm.
did not hit as well. But like I said earlier, like he was having to go up against Christopher Sanchez for twice, like, and
Yeah,
he's amazing,
he's
right?
a beast. Yeah,
Lazardo was threw an amazing game, and so did
Mhm.
Ranger Suarez once he came in. Three very, very tough lefties.
And
So I
the
think,
Dodgers couldn't figure it out. They couldn't figure
right.
Suarez out. That's why
Nope.
they lost. But you know what? I if this series is tied up going to Dodger Stadium at one game apiece,
Yep.
I see Otani on the mound game three, not game four, game three, 100%. But I also could see him even if the Dodgers are up 2 games to none. Going to Dodger Stadium because all they got to do is win two, and they're in the World Series.
Yep.
So, do the Dodgers in the NLCS, in your mind, do a bullpen game?
I don't see them doing a bullpen game this year. I think they can go 1 through 4. Obviously
Okay.
we know Snell, Yamamoto. I think they go Otani, Glass now.
Okay.
Then you can have Snell back for game 6 and Yamamoto, or Snell for 5, Yamamoto for 6.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe I guess 7 could turn into somewhat of a bullpen game, but you might have like where Glass now on short rest goes 3 innings and Sheehan goes 3 innings, and there's your
Correct.
6. So I guess in that sense, maybe if it got to a game 7, you could see some sort of a bullpen game. But I think the first 6 games, you've got a starter lined up with good rest for all 6 games.
Well, Hunter, so my host brother, I may have not told you about him. He's with the Dodgers, Julian Fernandez. You may know him because he's a reliever. Um, I literally just got an email from him right now. He's just been added to the NLCS roster for the Dodgers. Right
Really?
hander, yeah, right hander throws 101 to 103.
Wow.
But here's my concern with him. He's had 3 Tommy John surgeries. His ERA this year in Oklahoma City, he started 1 game and he gave up 3 home runs in a row. His ERA this year, he finished with a 4-year ERA in AAA. His ERA was over 8.
Mm.
So that's my concern. And I mean, he knows I'm doing the interview with you and all that. So that's why he emailed me. Um, Obviously, I don't see him being a high leverage guy, and I love the guy to death. But you know, I don't want to see it go to a game 6, game 7 because it flips back to Milwaukee. So if you could predict the NLCS right now, how many games would it go?
I think it does go 6 games. I think the Dodgers
Okay.
win 4 and the Brewers win 2. I think it does get back to Milwaukee for that game 6.
Yeah, okay. Just okay. I like it.
Yeah.
Um. Now me, I just before I had to look at it a different way. I had to look at it bullpen versus bullpen, not lineup pitching. I want to look at bullpen. I I was going to say it's going to go 6, but after last night, the amount of it was a bullpen game for both teams, but the amount of pitches Milwaukee used last night, I got the Dodgers going in 5.
I would like
I
that a lot.
I do. I see I see Milwaukee winning one of the games between game 1 and game 2. I see the Dodgers clinching it at Dodger Stadium in the NLCS 100%.
I
Um,
just think, looking at even a lot of the teams that they've played or that are remaining,
mhm.
it's pretty tough. Like you said, bullpen. Now you have your off days in there for sure, but in a 7 game series, your bullpen can get pretty taxed pretty fast. And where the
Yes.
Dodgers have 4 solid starters that are like, you know, all top 15, top 20 in all of baseball, like that's pretty tough to go up against, honestly.
Yeah.
Obviously the
Yeah.
Brewers have Freddie Peralta. There'll be a game where they throw the Miz, like they'll have an opener and the Miz will come in and do, 3 or 4 innings, but to not have like 3 or 4 guys that you can just solely like, yep, we're giving you the ball here and here,
Right.
it's tough. Like, yeah, it is tough. So I think that's where the
Well.
Dodgers have the biggest advantage is having 4 starters that they can trust on to give them
Right.
5, 6 innings for sure, and then their bullpen's not getting beat up.
And I look at it, and then I have to look at it this way. I always want to look at the ballpark. Is it pitcher friendly? Is it hitter friendly? Um, my mom, my mom and my girlfriend literally think that does not matter, but I have to tell my girlfriend, Paige, literally, it does matter. I try not to yell at her. She drives me nuts on it. Paige, love you, by the way. Don't yell at me for this. All right. Um, but, Dodger Stadium, I had to. This is interesting to me because I always thought it played a little more pitcher friendly this year. According to MLB ballpark stats, it played more hitter friendly from July to September. Before that, this year it played pitcher friendly. So now this is my question to you. Okay, do you really think Dodger Stadium? Do you believe that stat number one? I don't buy that, but
No, I mean I've always thought the same thing myself that Dodger Stadium was a pitcher friendly ballpark for sure. But I even in this last series they were kind of throwing out that stat too that Dodger Stadium has turned into one of the most home run friendly ballparks, and I
mm-hmm.
think part of that could be swayed a little bit. You bring a guy like Otani in the last 2 years that's hit
Right.
50 home runs, in each of the last 2 years. But yeah, I've always considered Dodger Stadium more of a pitcher's ballpark myself.
Uh, all right. All right. So now, obviously, we could. Okay. ALCS is going on right now. If you could if you prefer a team in the ALCS to win, who would it be?
I don't know the Toronto Blue Jays seem a little bit scary right now. I mean, their
Yeah,
bats are on fire. Like they seem like they are just tearing the cover off the baseball.
yeah.
So, to be honest, like their bats scare me a little bit. So maybe I'd rather see Seattle, but Seattle has amazing pitching and some great players too. I think
Mm-hmm.
honestly, it's going to be that series is going to be an amazing series between the
Yep.
Mariners and the Blue Jays. And there's not an easy opponent coming out of that side. I think they're both very tough teams in their own way.
And my mom wants Seattle to win only because they have never won a World Series, and they're the only franchise in MLB that hasn't. But
Yeah.
you know what? I'm afraid of Toronto. I went to see a Blue Jay game earlier this year,
Okay.
and there is nothing that they have a weakness on. I mean, I'm afraid. You know what? It Even if it's Dodgers, Blue Jays in the World Series, I am afraid of Toronto.
Yeah.
All right. But you know what? I think it's going to be good at ALCS. They both have diehard passionate fans, and we're going to see. I predict that going 7 games. I don't see it going under 7. I mean,
I
it
agree.
Seattle's hungry. We
Yeah.
also ALCS, ALDS, and all that. Toronto. I mean, I had them to win the ALDS all the way against um, against the Yankees and all that. Sorry, Yankee fans, but
Yeah.
I had Toronto. All
Yeah.
right,
They could
so
not get Vladdy out in that series. I mean,
oh no,
he
no, and
just
who could? Who
yeah,
could?
no one. No one. He was so hot in that series. I mean, it's crazy.
If I faced Vlad Jr., if I came in out of the bullpen and we had a 20-run lead and I'm only 1 out away from getting the final out of the game, and Vlad Jr. is that guy in the box, I don't care what anyone says. I'm walking him. I'm not taking my chances. I'll,
Yeah.
I'll walk the whole team and take my chances. But obviously, you can't win a game like that. But
Right.
all right, so this is really interesting. Next year, ABS. And some of you guys don't know what it means. It stands for Automatic Ball Strike System. It was used here in Boise for the Hawks this year. It was used in minor league ball, MLB All Star Game, and spring training. What are your thoughts on that coming into the regular season?
You know, I think there's obviously the old fashioned part of me that, enjoys, the game the way it is. But I have a ton of respect for umpires nowadays. I mean,
Yeah.
you just look at how fast pitchers are throwing now, the movement that they have, the vertical break, the horizontal break, everything that goes into it, and how fast it is. It is so hard to do what they do. And they
You're
are
right.
going to miss some here and there. So I think, having a challenge system is probably a good idea. Now, I don't want it to completely go away where it's just an automatic strike zone. Like, no,
Yeah.
I don't want that. But the challenge system, which you'll see it. I mean, you watch a game and we have the nice advantage of having the box there for us and the
Yep.
ball lights up if it was a strike or doesn't,
Yep.
and there's a lot of times where the batter will be in there and it is a strike and they're mad and that wasn't low. They're asking the blue and he's like,
Yep.
nope, I had that as a strike. And you'll see it next year. They'll challenge it and they'll realize, oh, I was actually wrong. The umpire was right.
Mhm.
So I think the challenge system will be a good thing because, I do think like you look at the Padres game, for example, that was a perfect situation. If they hadn't already burned it, there's going to be
Yeah.
strategy about not burning your challenges
Yes.
early on in the game. But I think it'll be good for both sides of it because I do think it's an insanely hard job for these umpires with. I mean, when you're seeing 102, that's breaking clear, like so hard for them to be able to know if So they do an amazing job for what they are doing.
And you guys got to also understand when you attend a game, even if you're sitting behind home plate, you're going to see a ball. Oh, that was a strike. Now, even though you're sitting behind home plate and you think you have the perfect seat, you're not the one umping the game. You got to, I
Right.
always tell fans this, and I always, you know, I tell high school kids this, I tell kids this, okay? The umpire, they're not perfect. And the last thing on the planet they need is someone yelling their name.
Right.
Now, earlier this year at a Boise Hawk game, guys, we had a fan literally flip off the umpire during the game here in Boise. Number one, not acceptable. And the one thing I loved about that umpire, and I had a conversation, it wasn't a he, it was a she behind the plate. I had this is an independent ball. That female, she went up to that fan and she threw him out and she said, "You don't have any right to judge me. You're a fan. You come here to enjoy the game, guys." Like Hunter said, guys, it I always say if you think as a fan you can determine what a ball and strike is, I want you behind the plate for one
Yeah.
whole game. And I want to see how good you can because I there is an umpire scorecard that's a free app, guys. You could get it on social media, Instagram, anything. I want you guys to look at that. Now, MLB says anything below 90 is horrible. I think if you get 89% right, that's something to be proud of.
Yeah.
So the ABS system, guys, I had a question earlier today about it. If you lose an ABS challenge, will that affect your challenges on like a call at first base? The answer to that is no. You get 2 ABS challenges a game. If you lose one. But if you win, you keep it.
Right.
So that is a confusing rule. I had to re-explain that. So no, guys, but you only get 2. Remember that. So your first one, if you get it right, you still at 2. But if you're out of those challenges for a game, guys, even with extra innings, you don't get an additional. Um, in my opinion, I think this is going to help the umps. It's going to help prove that they were right. It's going to help them get off the hook, hold them accountable, and
Yep.
all that. We all think of like Angel Hernandez and Joe West, guys. And you know what? This is not a channel to judge umpires, all right? Um, by the way, guys, while we're on umpiring crew, uh, next week I will have Nestor Seja on the channel, and Hunter may know that guy. That was the umpire for Game 1 of the NLDS when Otani was on the mound. He will be on the channel next week. He is actually the younger brother of one of my host brothers, so he'll be on the channel next week, so we could talk about that at that time. But I think it's well overdue. So I'm happy for it. I can't wait to see it. But I want to leave you guys at this, Hunter. Are you going to watch the WBC?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Ah, well, I wanted to I wanted to let you know this announcement on the channel, guys. I will be covering the WBC live in Houston, Texas. So if you guys have any requests for that, let me know. Otani has confirmed he will play for Japan. Thoughts on that?
It was amazing. Obviously, the last World Baseball Classic. I mean, you had the very famous Otani versus Trout moment to end it.
Yeah.
Cinematic, right? It couldn't get
But
any
but Mike
better
Trout
than
did not
that.
want to face Otani on the mound.
Yeah. No,
And who wouldn't? Who
I
would?
I wouldn't. No,
I'm
I'd rather
not.
see
I'm good.
anybody else.
Yeah. Pinch hit for me. I got 3 home runs now. But
Yeah.
yeah, guys, that is something you guys need to watch, guys. That brings baseball to a whole another level. You see the love from Japan when they go to Japan, guys, and actually, guys, one of the games, Team USA, one of their exhibition games is against the Dodgers, actually, at Camelback Ranch.
Oh
So
wow.
there you go. But all right, guys. Again, that is all I have from Main Event Baseball with Ryan Hunter. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Hopefully, maybe if the Dodgers advance, we can do a little World Series preview.
I
So
would
it
have.
was. Thanks for having me on.
I would love to do that. Of course, I would need Joe's permission. I don't want to take time
Yeah,
away.
we can always ask her. I'm sure she'll approve it for sure.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, drop a like if you enjoyed. Remember, guys, business cards, if you ever need one, they are down below in the link. If you ever want one, let me know. I will get those out to you guys. And our next guest, guys, is next Friday night. It will be MLB umpire Nestor Sea, guys, and it will be an in-person interview. I will be doing it from the Boise Hawk Stadium. So that is next week, guys. But until then, that is next time on Main Event Baseball with Ryan is tomorrow. We will be going over the preview for Game 1 of the NLCS and highlights. And thank you, Hunter, so much.
Thank you, Ryan. We'll talk to you later.
All right.